As Jackson Mahomes was released this afternoon, he is facing some very serious felony charges, unwanted physical contact with a woman at an Overland Park restaurant and lounge. He's also accused of shoving a male employee.
I know, I'm a day late, I have a lot of explaining to do, and believe me, I will. So before we get to the video, which is a very big video that I have a lot to update you guys on Friday, we're going to be giving away a grand total of $500 to 5 subscribers that turn on our notifications on this channel, and we're going to announce the giveaway winner on the community tab. Bear in mind that it's going to be me, Mikerophone, with a verified check mark next to his name on YouTube telling you that you won, not some robot telling you to text him on Telegram. I don't have a Telegram. In the past, we had a bot problem, so I couldn't really fulfill this giveaway, and that's why I moved him to Twitter and Instagram. We're gonna try it again here, okay? Now that we get all that out of the way, break! I really wish I discovered this sooner because this product has absolutely changed my life, from the way I watch games on Sundays or just the way I consume content on a regular basis. Valencia Theater Seating is North America's premier home theater seating specialist. Every Valencia chair is designed with support across from legs to the head. The use of special ergonomic foam is placed in strategic areas so that every part of your body is supported. The chairs are designed also with longevity in mind. The use of solid wood constructions, metal recline mechanism, and high quality foam means the chairs will hold their shape and comfort for decades to come. I love this chair so much from multiple perspectives, one being how far it reclines back, but in addition to that, how functional it is. Each chair comes with multiple USB ports, which is why you see so many devices on my chair, because it's so convenient to charge your device, and it charges it really freaking fast too. One of the ports is a USB-C port, while you're watching TV or playing video games while sitting in the chair. Prior to this, I was very uncomfortable sitting in my own living room because my couch wasn't necessarily designed to be sat on for a long period of time. But with Valencia theater chairs, I could actually sit in that chair for hours on end and just watch the games all day long, whether it's the NBA playoffs or a Sunday where I'm watching 8 hours of commercial-free football. Their chairs are made with real Italian leather, and they have really cool features on each chair as well. For example, each chair comes with cup holders if you want to put your beverage or your beer in there. In addition to the aforementioned USB devices, you could adjust your head in addition to the lumbar support in your back as well. It's made with full-grain Napa leather and has options for two-tone piping, ergonomic reclining, drop-down consoles, which is what I recommend because that's usually how I'm able to eat while I'm watching the game, powered headrests, and one of the coolest features they have is LED underfoot lighting. Those are just some of the great features that Valencia theater chairs offer. And your media room furniture doesn't have to be typical. You can customize it in any way you want, and I honestly got lost customizing my theater seat. So make sure you check them out. I'll leave a link in the description down below, or just go to valenciaseating.com to take a look at their selection. And thank you, Valencia, for today's sponsor. Mic check 1 2 1 2. What's going on, everybody?
Mike, you're a day late!
Okay, look, I'm sure at this point you guys are very much familiar with the microphone / flight mic curse. And this happens to me almost every time I finally decide to take some time off, especially me recently. I'm sure you guys are aware. I've dealt with some personal stuff over the past month and a half, and I figured it was a good idea to try to take a couple more trips so I could just get my mind out of it. And I thought the perfect time to take a trip would be during Cinco de Mayo, right after the NFL draft. There's a lot of moves that have already been made. Perfect time to go ahead and do this. As I'm getting into my Uber, we get the breaking news. Jackson Mahomes has been arrested. Thankfully, since I waited a day, there's a lot more details, but to truly understand how bizarre this situation is, we have to go all the way back to the beginning of the 2021 season. You see, a lot of people might not know this, but Patrick Mahomes is one of the rare few individuals where you could do as much digging as you can on this guy and you won't find anything on him. I mean, if you looked into Baker Mayfield's past, yes, you'll see him doing a crotch grab. Yes, you'll see some cops tackling him on surveillance footage when he was at Texas Tech, which has become a meme at this point. If you look into Josh Allen or Nick Bosa, you might see some unique tweets from 10 years ago, which I personally don't judge people based upon what they tweeted 10 years ago. But Patrick Mahomes doesn't even have that. His father played for the New York Mets as a pitcher, and both him and his wife had two extremely athletically gifted children. One one being Patrick Mahomes and one being Jackson Mahomes. And that's the one thing people don't really discuss about Jackson Mahomes at this point. You see, while Patrick Mahomes was trying to grind his way through college, which, by the way, when he was in college, he wasn't necessarily a really hyped up prospect. As a matter of fact, there are a lot of people that suggested that the Kansas City Chiefs reached when they traded up to select Patrick Mahomes in the 2017 NFL draft. But Mahomes didn't come into prominence until his first full year starting, where he gave us one of the most incredible seasons I think we've ever seen from a player that was playing his first full season under center. I don't think a lot of us remember this. It was truly remarkable. In his first full season, Patrick Mahomes threw for 50 touchdowns and over 5,000 yards in just 12 interceptions. He was able to lead the Kansas City Chiefs all the way to the AFC Championship. And at the bare minimum, he made it to the AFC Championship each and every year since then. Truly a transcendent talent, squeaky clean reputation. He won MVP in his first full year starting. In his second year, he won a Super Bowl. And by the time the 2021 season came around, we all clearly started to expect greatness from Patrick Mahomes. But in the beginning of the 2021 season, something changed. It seemed like he wasn't the super dominant Patrick Mahomes that he always was, at least in the beginning of the season, which, don't get me wrong, the end of the season turned out fine for him. He made it to the AFC Championship again. He threw for 37 touchdowns and just 13 interceptions, but the beginning of the season wasn't necessarily as good as it usually was, and that led to some speculation. At the same time this was all going down, we started to become more and more aware of Patrick Mahomes' brother, Jackson Mahomes. For those of you guys that don't know what Jackson Mahomes does, he was trying to become a basketball player, but once he saw that his brother was crushing it in the NFL, he figured, why should I work hard anymore when I could stop pursuing basketball, get a degree in marketing, and then try to siphon clout off of my older brother as much as I possibly can. And to be honest, I could see why that's tempting. I could understand why someone would decide to do that. Why would you even bother working hard when you could just mooch off of your brother? And originally, it seemed like the plan was working out okay. Only the way he decided to siphon clout off of Patrick Mahomes wasn't necessarily as someone that was off to the side. It was rather,
hey, why am I not getting the attention that my talented brother is getting?
and on top of that, not only was he not getting the attention that his talented brother was getting, he didn't know how to handle the attention when he got it. So it's this horrible combination of seeking out attention and then receiving the attention. And then once he did receive the attention, since people didn't like him as a human, he was subject to getting a lot of hate online. The first introduction we got to Jackson Mahomes was none other than his TikTok dances, which are very unique to say the least, which I will admit there are some shorts creators or reels creators or TikTok creators that go on TikTok and actually have a lot of talent to show the world. There's cooking channels, there's people doing really challenging dances that they've been working on their entire life, and then there's people doing cringy little dance trends that anyone can learn within 3 minutes just so they can boost their follower count in hopes of one day becoming some sort of influencer. Jackson Mahomes falls into that last category, but at the end of the day, I didn't necessarily blame him. I thought it was very cringy and unfortunate that this was the representation of the Mahomes family, at least from Jackson, and this is something that Patrick Mahomes had to deal with. But at the same time, I could understand Jackson feeling empty and saying, hey, I need to figure out my purpose in life. He created a TikTok account, and as a result of people just disliking his TikTok dances, he decided to add this to his About Me section. Sup, I get bullied a lot, but I'm still here. This was some foreshadowing for his future, because this next year would really show why people bullied Jackson Mahomes. In the beginning of the season, he got into a small spat between himself and a Ravens fan that prompted him to dumping water on the Ravens fan, clearly indicating that he has no idea how to deal with the hate that comes his way, which prompted Patrick Mahomes to getting asked a question about his brother during a post-game press conference. Look.
Obviously, it's something that we don't want to necessarily do. There was things said to him and Brittany that you don't see kind of on the clip. But I mean, he's been good at it, at not trying to respond to that stuff. He takes a lot, and he's usually pretty good at it, and he'll learn from it, and just try to stay away from those people as best he can.
But things would get a lot worse. Not only would you see videos of Patrick Mahomes trying to study the playbook while Jackson Mahomes and Brittany were dancing around him, but you would see him clearly getting fed up by both Jackson and Brittany's tactics. But nothing would be nearly as bad as what was to come. The Washington Commanders decided to honor the late great Sean Taylor a few weeks later. For those of you guys that don't know, Sean Taylor is one of the best safeties in NFL history. history whose life was tragically taken away from him way too soon when a robber broke into his home and shot him. We have a full video on it, and if you truly understood how talented this young man is, you'd understand how much of a tragedy this story was. And the Washington Commanders decided to honor him by putting the spot in the field and chaining the spot off of that field. But Jackson Mahomes thought it'd be a really good idea to dance on this memorial and post it onto TikTok. Now, he claims that this was an accident. I don't know if it was an accident or on purpose to trend, but all I could tell you is it happened. But things would get way worse. Way worse later on that year. Jackson Mahomes would arrive at Kansas City bar, and he'd get very frustrated at the fact that he wasn't getting served quickly enough. So what did he decide to do? Well, he did his best to leave a negative review of the bar onto his Instagram story, trying to cancel the bar. So for those of you guys that didn't see the post, Jackson Mahomes would post onto his story saying, "Who has been to SOT? The service is absolutely terrible and the bartenders are so rude. I would not recommend at SOT KC." For those of you guys that don't know, SOT is a small business in Kansas City, and Jackson Mahomes was mad because he wasn't getting his food quickly enough, or the servers were probably very flustered and they couldn't respond to him quickly enough. This prompted the bar to post onto Instagram and say, "Dear Jackson Mahomes, we are sorry that we set boundaries that you tried to ignore. Oftentimes, people with unearned status and a sense of entitlement think that they are above the rules and will lash out at the employee enforcing them. We are sorry we could not seat your very large group. As you probably saw, our bar is very small. We are sorry that you have the reach that you do, or at least that you think you do, and that instead of using it for something positive, you decided to use it to try and crush a small business. We survived a global pandemic, we'll survive your ego. We are sorry you didn't reach out to us first before taking to social media. Then again, that is an expectation we would have from a mature and rational person, not someone who pours water on fans and dances on the memorials of tragically lost people for TikTok clout. We have not been fortunate enough to be born into a much more talented and much more famous family, but we would like to think that if we did have that much luck, we would use our influence in more responsible ways. We hope our apology finds you well." This gave us an insight into who Jackson Mahomes truly was, an entitled, petulant child that originally I had some empathy for because he was just trying to find his place in life, but was trying to seek out attention and will stamp his feet and cry if he doesn't get his way. And oh yeah, if you try to call him out for it, he's gonna say that you're bullying him. To his credit, the very next season, you didn't really hear much from Jackson Mahomes. I believe Patrick may have sat him down with Brittany and said, "Hey, this is becoming too much of a distraction. We need to get some media training, and we need to allow me to be in an environment to focus solely on football." Everything was going great. I didn't hear about Jackson Mahomes the whole entire year. I figured the Jackson Mahomes story was officially closed, on with the Deshaun Watson story that we covered with it. It's officially over and we could move on to other stories. And then at the conclusion of the Super Bowl, we were reintroduced to Jackson Mahomes. First was Jackson Mahomes doing this dance as Patrick Mahomes was getting interviewed following one of the greatest achievements of his career, winning his second Super Bowl. But then Jackson Mahomes did something so horrible, so terrible, that now he's been officially arrested. Now he's been released since then, of course, because the Mahomes family would be able to release him on bail. For those of you guys that don't know what happened, a few months ago we made a video on this. Jackson Mahomes was accused of SA by forcing himself onto the owner of this restaurant. Now, I can't really show you the footage because, well, YouTube will demonetize me. So I'm gonna post this onto my story on Instagram, but I'm also gonna post it as a reel onto my Instagram because Instagram won't punish me for doing so. But here's a screenshot of what went down for those of you guys that didn't see it. And this would prompt Brittany to actually standing up for Jackson. This is insane, by the way, probably the wildest part of the story to me. So Brittany posts onto her story a question that says, "How do you feel about the comments about your brother-in-law?" She responded saying, "They are ignorant. He is a human just trying to live his life and find his way, and until you walk a day in his shoes, which no one ever will, you have no right to say shit about him. So it's best to just shut up." I don't think that's necessarily the greatest look if you see this footage and how incriminating it is. This man literally got caught in 4K. I mean, there's not any more crystal clear footage of a man doing something so horrible than this, which we'll post onto our Instagram for you guys to check out. But this would also be accompanied by an actual arrest report by the Kansas City police. with a pretty comical video, I might add, of him walking out. So here's what the report says. Jackson Mahomes, the 22-year-old social media influencer and younger brother of Kansas City Chiefs star quarterback Patrick Mahomes, has been charged with 3 felonies. He was charged with 3 felony counts of aggravated sexual battery and a 4th misdemeanor count of battery. He was booked into the Johnson County Detention Center on a $100,000 bond, and he was bonded out on Wednesday afternoon, almost immediately. Overland Park Police confirmed the incident stemmed from an accusation by the owner of an Overland Park restaurant in which he allegedly, keyword allegedly, these are all allegations, and this video is a gigantic joke, so don't try to sue me for it, in which he allegedly assaulted her and shoved a waiter in separate incidents. The alleged incident happened on February 25th, 2023 at Aspen's Restaurant and Bar Lounge in Overland Park. The video circulating online shows Mahomes kissing the 40-year-old owner of the restaurant located at 6995 West 151st Street. Now, the funniest part about this is his lawyer actually denied these claims in March, saying that we have provided law enforcement with the tools and the evidence that they need to evaluate the claims against Jackson. Every interaction between people needs to be placed in the proper context. Releasing a short clip of any video does not provide proper context. We have faith in the process and look forward to a swift resolution of the matter. It's funny because this is what they said in March, and now you actually have people showing up to Mahomes' home and arresting Jackson as a result of the tools that they were provided. I don't know what you could say to defend him in this particular instance. I don't know how you could make a 22-year-old forcing himself on a 40-year-old, which if you see the footage, it clearly looks like he is forcing himself on the woman. I don't know how you could make this look good. I don't know how you could provide any context whatsoever to make this look okay. At the end of the day, I don't feel empathy for Jackson Mahomes. There's not a single part of his character that will make me think, damn, this poor kid. All he had to do was sit back and enjoy the fact that his brother is famous, go to some parties as a result of being Patrick Mahomes' brother, maybe learn how to be a publicist of some sort or how to contribute to the Mahomes brand. Instead, he decided to sit in the background, do silly little TikTok dances on the memorial of tragically lost human beings, try to cancel bars, try to throw water on fans, and not hold himself accountable whatsoever once he gets called out for it. The worst part of this is, even when there is an opportunity for him to grow, which I think prison would do some wonders for this young man, he's always going to get bailed out by his family at the end of the day, because no family will want their son to rot in prison, even if it'll be good for him at this point. So I don't necessarily know what we could expect from Jackson at this point, and I don't expect this to be my last video on him either, because clearly this man is trending lower and lower and lower, and he's being enabled by the people around him that love to paint him as the victim. So let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think about the story. I'm sorry that I was late. I'm currently on vacation in Cabo, but I have good enough internet to continue to bring you guys these updates. Make sure you check out the footage on our Instagram and our TikTok, and aside from that, I'm your boy Mike, and I'm dropping our mic until our next upload.